My name's Guy Kestevan. I've been a professional bike and kit tester for over 25 years. And this is my live ride review of the absolutely glorious On1 Rujo steel, gravel, all-road bike bargain. And I'm just going to come straight out with it and say, this frame and therefore this bike is just absolutely glorious. It's literally one of the nicest riding bikes I've ever tested. And that's, you know, over 25 years, as I always say, thousands of bikes, mountain bike, road bike, gravel bike. This DN6 steel frame is absolutely outstanding, especially as it's probably one of the cheaper steel frames you can get anywhere. I mean, yeah, it's heavy. The bike's 10.4 kilos, but it's only about 400 grams heavier than the titanium Tempest frame from Planet X. And yeah, it's a kilo heavier than the Free Ranger carbon frame. But I mean, I'm not even doing it consciously, but here I am riding straight down the middle, the roughest section of this trail, and the bike's just gliding along. Normally on a gravel bike with 40mm tyres, you're looking for the smoothest line, constantly searching there, weaving around between the rough bits, but there's almost a perverse, but not a genuine pleasure on this bike for just rolling it through the roughest lines, because it is so sublimely smooth. And it's just a combination of evolution. So this DN6 frame set, well, tubing, there's probably been loads of different tube sets from loads of different manufacturers. I think the one first used it, it's definitely in the 90s, late 90s, on the legendary inbred single speed. And I remember the forum that Brandt, the designer at the time, answering, he was going on about silly names for tubing, in particular like Trek Alpha Aluminium it was at the time, I think. And someone said, well, what's DN6? He said, well, it's the postcode of the warehouse, because Planet X were in Doncaster at that time. They're in Rotherham now, but still building all the bikes. Frames come from the Far East, but they build them up in-house, and it's a proper team of cyclists in there. Some proper Donny Chain Gang legends putting these bikes together for order. So it'll take you 3 or 4 days before they send it, but that means you can actually tweak a lot of the specification. Like this has got 56 quid's worth of Hutchinson Tuareg tubeless tyre upgrade, which I would certainly massively recommend. I'm a big fan of the Panaracer Hardclack Comet tyres that normally come on the bike, if only they came in tubeless. But getting a pair of these Tuaregs and a set of valves just makes a big old difference to the ride quality on these Fulcrum wheels, which is fine. They're just a good basic smooth, they're very smooth rolling actually, but the bearings are pretty exposed, so that's not going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, all right, definitely get it tubeless. But I'm getting distracted here. Let's talk about the bike again. Right, just stopped off so we can do a quick look around on the specifics of the bike. So it's SRAM Rival, which means you've got those double tap shifters on there. It's a silk-off, slightly flared gravel bar. Again, like I say, you can change your width and the length of the stem and the cockpit, all in the Planet X bike builder. But, it's just good basic aluminium stuff. Again, same for the seat post. It's alloy, it's easily adjustable, and then you've got a range of saddles as well, depending on whether you like long, thin, flat, wide, hole in the middle or not. But I have to say, this San Marco one that comes as standard, really, really comfortable. It's the one we rode in Morocco on the titanium bikes, and, you know, 400k of some rough terrain. It was absolutely spot on. And then at the back, you've got that rival 11-speed. Again, it's the heavier cassette, so you could easily pull some weight out of it there, but it's all just really good, functional, single ring stuff as well. But, you know, you can fit a front mech on there if you want, but all the all-one complete builds actually come one by. But, the thing I just need to keep talking about is just how good this frame set is. I mean, you can see there's nothing crazy going on with it. It's just nicely welded, slim steel tube. You've got a belled out bottom race there, so it takes a tapered fork. You've got ring reinforcing at the bottom, but it's just slim tubes, triple butted internally, and then, you know, I mean, but that's a really nice detail there. The curve on that seat stay there, and you've got a little bit of swerve in the chain stays there, and you've got, you know, like I say, mudroom's a bit restricted. It's 43mm, they reckon, on these. Although, to be fair, I mean, that's a 40mm tyre, and it's a proper 40mm tyre. There's still a fair bit of room around those. And then you've got this classic on-one pioneered chainstay plate on this side, which gives you that bit more clearance in there, and threaded bottom bracket, as you'd hope for a super reliable bike. And then you've got this huge list of fixtures and fittings as well. So you've got mudguard and rack eyelets separately there. You've got rack and mudguard eyelets there. Like I say, you've got another mudguard pip down there. On the far side, you've got flat mount brakes. So they take the latest standard of brake. You've got a standard bottle cage on the seat tube. You've got a 3-bolt everything mount on the down tube. And then you've got bottle cage mount underneath there, and that's where your external cable routing is, so that's easy to get to and easy to service. And up here you've got whatever you call your gas tank or top tube bag boss there. You can even spec it up with a RockShox Ruby suspension fork if you do. And I am kind of fancying, not so much that, because it's so smooth I don't think it needs it, but I am fancying pimping this out a bit with some lighter carbon seat post, maybe putting some carbon wheels on it as well, and seeing, you know, kind of hot rodding it a bit. But anyway, let's jump back on it, let's get some more riding in, and just, well, it'll probably just be me raving about it, to be honest, and maybe mentioning the geometry, which is 71 degree head angle, 74 degree seat angle. So again, not extreme in any way, and that was fairly close to I mean, it's relaxed road geometry. It's not like a 69 degree head angle like you get on the Titus Gold Rush I rode in Morocco. But there's just something so planted and so secure about the way this bike rides, purely because of that steel frame. And because it's a gravel bike with basically slick tyres and drop bars, it's an absolute joy compared to a mountain bike when you're coming up on the road. And it doesn't matter how rough or wild the road is. And again, it's just, you know, reviewing it, I've ridden this a ton just because I've enjoyed it so much, and it's got such a great underdog vibe, but it's got this amazing sort of flywheel effect to the frame. Almost feels like you're running an elliptical chainring. Just flows and floats. It just really, I mean, yes, it's a little bit softer in terms of power delivery, but it just sustains speed ridiculously well. Just keeps on sort of turboing forwards. I imagine it's what it's like to drive a really old Jag with like a 3-speed auto box and an overdrive. It just carries on surging long after kind of lighter, spikier, sharper feeling bikes would have just had the wind knocked out of their sails. But I don't care, because it's just an absolutely brilliant example of this kind of fabled, mythical steel ride that actually a lot of bikes don't manage to pull off. There's a lot of dead steel out there, at all different price ranges as well. And not only is it brilliant value in terms of just the cost of the bike and the frame and fork. I mean, there are some people who'll charge you £2,000 for a steel frame and fork, even off the shelf, and give it a backstory like some fancy Italian wine to convince you why it's worth paying it. But this is just Tom in Rotherham doing a wonderful bit of frame design, plus vendors in Taiwan who know how to put together the tubes they've got to produce a brilliant ride, and and they're just so versatile in terms of what you can ride on them as well. I mean, it certainly isn't radical, like I say. 71-degree head angle, only 43mm tyre clearance, but you got narrow bars, you can fit through all the gaps just for the sake of it. And because the fork and frame are so smooth, you really don't need much in the way of big tyre space. I mean, the last time I was gliding through here on tyres this size, I was on a Stigmata carbon bike, but it had a ruby suspension fork, a dropper post, and a Caterpillar track, a Zip 101 wheels on it to make it feel this smooth. But this is just plowing. No, that's the wrong word. Gliding over these routes and stutter bumps, which I'm deliberately, you know, hitting the rougher stuff on, just so you can see how well, didn't need to back off in there, it holds the line and carries speed, because this bike is such a surger along single track. It's ridiculous. I was up here the other night on 47mm tyres on a 650B setup, and the way it was carrying speed through the woods, well, you can see even on 700s with the seat up my butt. Oh, such a flowing, forgiving and fun ride. At the end of the day, and you know, if you don't fancy arsing about in the woods, obviously it's got all those bike packing fixtures on all the tubes, so you can fit all sorts of bags, bottles, cages, pretty much whatever you want on here. So it'll fully go the distance, and that smoothness and forgiveness will really play out in terms of comfort over the long haul. And even things like the way the frame and fork shrug off impacts from stones and sharp edges is going to save you puncturing compared to a sharper, tighter bike. But it's just this bike's ability to just gradually move up through the gears and then just hold on to them, hold that momentum, just laugh as everybody around you just kind of gives up the ghost, and this just keeps surging onwards. I bloody love this bike, absolutely love it. Proper underdog hero, this one. I've got, you know, I haven't even bothered riding the carbon bike yet. I've been enjoying this one too much. Cannot get enough of this Rujo. And don't be surprised if you see it lingering about on my Instagram long after this video's gone, if I can persuade Planet X to let me keep hold of it. And I can assure you, it's not just in my imagination how fast this bike goes. It's done some significant segments on Strava as well, especially if there's a bit of downhill and a bit of rowdiness in them, because it just feels so sure-footed. You're not afraid to commit to the speed, stay on the gears and off the brakes. Oh, so good. Oh, and you get it in red if the blue isn't up to your preference. Come on, why wouldn't you take the fun single track route just to prove that steel really can give a remarkable ride quality when it's done right. I mean, this is bloody frozen tundra here. This should be scaphoid hell, but she's certainly been knocking me down the block. But no, still going, still surging that sequential rival gear set down the trail. Woo-hoo-hoo. I see. Oh, hello. Oh, I mean, that should have been a goner for the tyre and rim, for sure, but inexorable, invincible, indomitable. It's like a parade of First World War battle cruiser names. Well, if you're into your First World War battle cruisers, it is. I just try one. Planet X on when they're doing demo days now. If you don't believe me, I can't wait for people to demo these and then just get in touch and go, oh my god, how good is that bike? And I love the fact that it's so relatively affordable as well, because this will open up so many riding opportunities, so many people. What a great bike, truly a great bike, this one. So there you go, the On1 Rujo, a bike that totally delivers on the promise of just a slim tubed ferrous tube set done really, really well. That's it. It's everything that you want from a steel tube set. And if you don't know what that is, that smoothness, it's this quiet surge. I mean, especially with that silent free hub on, this bike is so stealthy. I've actually been on night ride, switched the lights off and come up behind people flat out on properly rough trails and just sat there and then startled them at the last minute. But it's got that real mischievous character to it as well. But also this versatility, this utility of all the mounts and the bike packing bits and mudguard mounts. It's just super versatile. It's great value for the quality of the ride. I mean, it's not perfect. It could theoretically do with more tyre space. Not that it really necessarily needs that pneumatic smoothness. And I definitely think it's worth upgrading with better kit if you wanted, because currently they only offer it in this rival build kit. They don't offer the Selkoff carbon wheels and things, but I'm sure if you ask nicely, they could build you something up along those lines, or you just get the frame set and build it up from there. But you know, this video is, it is sponsored by On1 and Planet X, but hand on heart, hand on beating heart, every time I ride this bike, I absolutely love it. And it's just a wonderful affirmation of how good this kind of bike can be, and a steel tube set can still be when it's done super well. So, massive thanks to On1 Planet X for commissioning me for these series of videos on their bikes and letting me hold it. And particularly, and hopefully letting me hold on to this bike. If you're watching this, Tom, Hester, Catherine, if I could just, hang on to this one for a bit longer, that'd be great. You can have the titanium ones and carbon ones back, which I think that says a lot, to be fair, because I love the Tempest. I mean, Tempest, very, very, basically the same bike but in titanium. Glorious bike, but I just like the underdog element of the cheaper steel bike being so good. But anyway, anything I've missed out, get busy in the comments below. I'll put a link straight to the Planet X on One website, so you can see exactly what the bike is I'm talking about. And make sure you keep tuning in to watch me go through the rest of the range as well. And yeah, probably be doing some little reviews on the Karnak clothing I've been wearing too. But for now, I've been Guy Kestevan on Guy Kes TV, getting carried away in the best way possible on one's steel-framed Rujo gravel bike. Absolute steel-plumbed pleasure.